Welcome back to part 2 of getting my Defender MOT'd and back on the road. Today I'm looking at this brake pipe and that shock tower. Just comes in, over the chassis and up to the master cylinder. Impact guns are the best. Just using the makeshift pedal depressor just to keep the fluid from coming out of the master cylinder and dribbling out the pipe. Wee bit of heat as always. You can see how bad the pipe is now, it's got a wee twist in it. That's the only vaping I'll be doing, brake fluid vape. That went really easy, probably didn't need to heat it. Because the Land Rover's off-road quite often, I use the heavier duty, old school style copper pipe. The stuff from Halfords is nice because it's thinner walled and easier to shape, but for this, I'm definitely going to use the harder stuff. The only downside with the harder stuff is it is tricky to shape. And if you don't get a bend right, it work hardens, so you've got to be careful trying to get it right first time. These handheld brake pipe flaring tools are great. Just do everything you need, in situ repairs, not faffing about in the vise with the other one. What I found with these though is the cheaper ones look exactly the same as the dearer type, but you're better buying the dearer type. With a bit of use, the cheap ones, eventually the thread starts tripping. Don't forget the fitting first. This cheaper one also clamps the pipe a wee bit too tight and leaves marks, but it's easy to buff off with a bit of emery paper. Stop bolt sets the distance, then it's just operation 1 for this one. Usually put a bit of oil in just to help the threads and help the pipe from being damaged when it gets squashed in. First side done, now on to the next one. Don't forget the fitting. And with the outward flare, it's operation 1 then operation 2. We rub the emery, and that's the pipe made. There's always a wee tweak to do once it's in, just to get it nice and neat. I'll try and get it as straight as I can. Good nip up both sides. Final nip. Solid. You can see that little mark from the pipe being clamped there. Time to remove the depressor. Then open the bleed nipple with a bit of heat, of course, and just let it gravity bleed itself. Fill the new pipe up. Just letting it run till all the bubbles in the air come out. It'll run clear for a few seconds, then you'll know. That's it. nipped back up, and already got a pretty good pedal. Easy as that. Press and hold, and then check for leaks. All good. Started chipping away at this shock tower just to get in at the bolts, but once I hit it a few times I realised it actually wasn't as rotten as I thought. So kept chipping away the laminations of rust there, and then just gave it a good paint with a greasy paint. Sorted. Time to stick the wheel back on. This is the next bit I want to tackle. Not necessarily MOT fail stuff, as it's nowhere near the chassis, but I've been wanting to do it for a while, so it's time to do it. Bolts cut and screws removed. Fire extinguisher bracket bolted over one of the access screws wasn't the best idea. With the tapping finished, it was time to commence grinding. These footwells are double skinned from factory, with a bumpy bit of metal on the outside, but I'm only concerned about stopping water coming in and making it solid again. So I'm just making it a single skin of 1.5mm steel, nice and solid. The repair crept up a wee bit, so I had to do an RV extra patch, but I'm not ever selling it. I'm not fussed with making it look great. Just drying the moisture off the outrigger and then giving it a good greasy paint. Since I've got good access to now, might as well. You can shove your lano guard up your... Next it was time for the welding. Didn't film all this because it was pretty boring to watch, to be honest. Quick buff and quick paint. This is the double skin on the outside. It's just a moisture trap anyway, so I'm not bothered. Couldn't find my olive drab paint, so garden furniture green it is. Get a good lungful of that, son. And 4 plates back in. Followed by the Bodger's best pal, tech screws. Fantastic. Job done. Next thing was these rubbish dust boots that came with these heavy duty steering arms. In typical guy fashion though, I forgot I needed to do these and I'd booked the MOT and didn't have any, so I was on the scrounge for some. Found this old steering joint, so we're off to a good start, but once I got it off I realised it was split. So back to the scrap pile. Old steering arms. Knew I should have kept them for something. That'll do nicely. You don't need a ball joint splitter. Just throwing some grease in whilst I'm here, might as well. Perfect. Steering arm off the back now. You can see why I wanted to put some grease in. Look at the state of them grease nipples. New boots on, time to refit. Next job, indicator stalk doesn't work, and when the hazards are on it all flashes silly, so an earth fault somewhere. Stripped this apart, didn't film it because they're a nightmare. But that's it fixed, easy peasy. After driving the Series 2 for a while, jumping back in this, I felt like the tracking was way out. Must have just gotten used to it when I was driving this. So I towed it out a tad, and it was miles better. Wee side job on RST's exhaust next. I made this exit out the inner wing like the originals used to when I put the 2.5 engine in. I knew it would crack eventually, but I always wanted the proper downpipe for this engine. Wee tweak with the crowbar, and then weld the side exit back on. Quick mock up here. All the hangers have to be altered, but that's pretty much it. Still not found my whiskey stills. On the way to the MOT. See what happens. Of course it passed. So that called for a celebratory snow goose. No bottle opener on the dash, so I have to resort to other methods. Perfect. Thanks for watching. Cheers.